Talk to me. Walk to me.
We are live.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, everybody.
Hey,
Welcome
hey.
to the Ruku channel, our red carpet screening. Guys, y'all know how we do. We doing it big, 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 big here. We are giving you the first of the shows that actually, this show was the first show we signed to the Ruku channel. Khalil, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. And let me tell you, we was impressed from day one. We seen this Bronx native, used to be a Bronx native, Bronx, the Bronx native, Anissa Riley, or excuse me, Dr. Riley.
Doctor, that's right.
And we see, salute to LA Sunshine because he told
Yeah.
me about it. He said, "Yo, Khalil, I'm telling you, this girl is dope. She got real topics, you mean, that connects with people. You need to check it out." I seen it, it was clean. She's in there rocking, little pretty little brown self to getting it in. And I was like, "Oh, shoot, go ahead, Miss Ponytail." And she's like, and she putting it in. And let me tell y'all something, man. We are so excited to have her on our channel. And we want all of y'all to make sure y'all tune in and support the channel and support her show. And we're going to be doing a lot of different creative things that you're going to see in the next weeks to months to come to help promote the Ruku channel as well as these shows. But right now, we have our special guest with her on this screening that we got, our first screening that we're doing, red carpet screening. We got Dr. Reilly. I was gonna say niece, but Dr. Reilly. How you doing today, Dr. Reilly?
I am so good. I am great. I am just so happy to be here. This is amazing. I also want to shout out to LA Sunshine because that is my brother. And ever since we met, we just been rocking together. He's been supporting me. I've been supporting him. And this is just evidence of how much he believes in the project, believes in me, believes in the vision. All for seeing it too and creating this platform so we can get out to more people. So yay. Hey.
Yes.
So let me tell you, when I saw, because I got to see the first season before everybody, because you downloaded it, you sent it to me, you sent the shows to me, the first season. And right now, everybody, it's on the Uni TV. So go to the Ruku channel. We got a sneak peak screening of all the shows, and at 1 p.m. Eastern you will see Ask Dr. Reilly, but I'm only showing 3 right now. I'm only showing the first 3. I know there was one, oh my goodness, now I'm a minister, but the name, the Coochie Coach.
The Coochie Coach.
Whoa.
That
I want you to tell us a little bit about why you started this show.
Okay, so it was important for me to really understand that we all go through stuff, and the stuff that we go through is not necessarily for ourselves, but to help others move past their hurt, their pain, their trauma. And I was a woman that experienced a whole lot of trauma, and I was stuck at certain points in my life, but I had it all together. I would look in the mirror and see this woman who had it all put together, was popping, locking, making moves, successful in my career, successful in with my education. But on the inside, I was going through some stuff. And that stuff that I was going through on the inside, people didn't see, but I knew that was there. And it was very important that I realized that in order to be authentic, in order to get unstuck, in order to really move and be your best self and live your best life, you had to deal with the trauma, the residue of the trauma, right? Because you get past the trauma, but trauma leaves residue, and that residue leaves you paralyzed. And so I wanted to make sure that I showed up in my relationships properly. I wanted to make sure that I showed up authentically. And when I started that healing process, I began to see that there were other women just like me who had the residue of trauma, who showed up looking fabulous, but on the inside was hurting or damaged. And I thought, if I share my story, because I don't look like 40 miles of bad road, I still look good. I'm not in a crazy house. I'm not on drugs. I'm not, on alcoholism. I'm not dead or in jail, but you can still live be your authentic self by taking the residue trauma, taking the pain and turn it into power. So I started the show because I knew there were others out there like me who turned their pain into power. And if we could just rally them all together and say, here, share your story, then we can help those who are living in a state of paralysis because of the trauma.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me say this. Look, what you just pretty much summed up and said is that, a lot of us go through what we go through, and we really don't know how to put it together and make it work or even overcome it and still deal with the after effects of certain things. We have to come to the point where we have to be able to heal ourselves,
yeah,
and kind of like reset,
yeah,
and through time, you know what I mean, and through the right, the right connections, the right relationships with the right people will help, empower us back and re-strengthen us so we can pretty much, continue to blossom through the pain and use
yeah.
that pain as, a teaching platform to help the next person go through it. And when I'm watching your show and I'm seeing how you talking, we can tell from the questions that you ask and the people that you're inviting on the show that you have some experience of some of the things that you're speaking about and going through. And that's a blessing because our story and our testimonies are very important. And with that being said, is uh, with your platform, what's your goal to get out of your platform right now? What's your goal?
So the goal is for those individuals out there who have finding themselves in a place of, the word I used before, paralysis, stuck because they can't get rid of their past or they don't know what to do. For me, I tried therapy, like I shared in one of the episodes, which is soon to come, where I tried therapy. That didn't work. You
Mm.
know, as a Black woman and from the Black community, we know therapy wasn't something that we flocked to. It was always, you go to therapy, you on a short bus, you crazy, right? So
Oh, Lord, oh no.
You messed up,
You're
Alex.
going to the bus. Oh
You
no.
shouldn't have
Oh
said that.
no.
yeah, you on a short bus.
Oh no. You're gonna get Khalil started. Woo.
But that's for real.
Go ahead.
Hey, you on the short bus. So you go to therapy, you on the short bus, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I ain't crazy, but I tried therapy and I was like, that don't work for me. Now, I'm not saying that people don't need to go to therapy. That's not what I'm saying, because therapy, my girlfriend says, let the help, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you can go to therapy, but that just wasn't for me. But I also realized that we weren't talking about it. One of the things that we have in our culture in the African American community is what happens in the house stays in the house.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so we don't bring it out there. Or we as Black women have practiced and become experts at pushing through our pain and still being fabulous, right?
Come on.
Have learned how to take on the pain and agony of the world and still show up fabulous, but still hurting, because then we called aggressive or we're called, that B word. But it's not all of that. It's just that we got all of this turmoil happening on the inside and you still want us to be fabulous. Now I have a superwoman cape, but I can't make it a noose at the same time. So that's something, another one of my mentors shared with me. So my goal is for us to normalize the conversation around trauma, right? Normalize the conversation around mental health supports.
Yes.
We are starting to really talk about mental health with our youth, but we still have an age bracket from the 70s. It's like a 70s baby. We have not really dealt with the effects of what's happened to us, because we were like, we're going to be fabulous. Our parents just came out the civil rights movement, and we the first generation out the civil rights movement. So we're going to take advantage of all that was provided for us. But we haven't dealt with mental health. We haven't dealt with trauma. And my goal is to make sure that we normalize the conversation. And people can see you're not in this alone. No, you're not the only one that is going through this. And hopefully when people watch the show, they can see themselves, hear themselves, or know someone who needs the information and just gets the healing that they need, or the next step in their healing.
I want to show you something. I know this from the show. I don't know if you can see it.
Crystal ball?
With the little ball with the burgundy thing?
Yeah, I see it's on a stand, a little crystal ball. It's in and out, but
this is what you had in your show. How about now?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we see it now.
I see it now. Yes.
Don't you have that in the show?
On a shelf, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta show her this. Wow.
Yeah.
Me and my daughter was looking at it, and she was like, "Ma." I was like, "Yeah. See, look."
Yeah. All of that is purposeful. You know, the background, everything was purposeful, from the music that was displayed, the music albums that were displayed, from you'll see Al Pacino up there, Scarface, you know, so all of those little pieces were very purposeful in season 1 around trauma, just so people can relate. Because if we zero in on Scarface, that was trauma. Michelle's character in that movie, she experienced trauma. You know, and we as women find ourselves.
Was she the one sniffing all that coke?
Yes, but she was in love. But she was in love.
You know, I know that coke was definitely there.
That love, man, that love word, I tell you.
Yeah.
Love will make you do some things. Sometimes I just wonder about, are we in love, or do we know what love is? And so that's why I like the fact that you're having these discussions, because what people think is love is not love, and they put themselves to all of these situations, and then when love comes to them, or it's really love, they don't know how to respond because of that word trauma. So I'm telling you guys, I see Andrea's on here. Me and Andrea, let me tell you, Andrea Smith is a pastor, right? And we was watching it, and the one that got us was that episode, I think it was show 2, the Coochie Coach.
Yes.
And we was like, wow.
Yes.
This is a conversation we need to have. We need to have these conversations, especially in the church.
Yes.
Especially in the church.
And let me tell you about the Coochie Coach. You know, we really didn't go too much into it in that show, but she and I have been friends for over 30 years. That was my first, we were the first people to meet going to college orientation. Morgan State University, whoop, whoop. You know, at Morgan State University, we met on the train going to college orientation, and we were friends ever since. And so the reason why I had her as my first guest to open up the season was 2 reasons. One, because everything that I have embarked on, she was a part of. It just happened, like the fate is that she's always been a part of everything first for me. First time going to college, she was with me. First time getting a job as an educator, we were doing it together. First time having babies, we were doing it together. So I was like, I cannot not have you part of my first on this. And it so happened that her journey has taken her through education to finding her place and space, as you heard her tell her story about Womb University, she was trying to do all this stuff, to evolve it into the Coochie Coach, because we both have similar stories. You know, we heard belligerent, we were not sexually promiscuous, sexually belligerent, right? And she realized that also had a traumatic effect on her. And she realized that in her purpose and her gift to humans, male and female, because she just doesn't necessarily work with women, but males too, who have got into this place of sexual trauma, and some men not even realizing that their experiences have caused them to have this conquering mentality that causes continual trauma. So, you know, she uses the word Coochie Coach, and it either offends, or it attracts, or it enlightens. But that place is a sacred place created by God, right? And how do we take care of it and how do we honor it, and how do we understand the covenant that it brings? Because if we don't, and we don't really have those discussions, then what happens is there is this trauma.
I do want to say this one thing, and then I'll let Khalil talk. So you're taping, or you've been taping season 2, right?
Yeah.
And so you did a show with someone that I know very well, Jocelyn Perry. Now, I don't know what the show is about, but I saw, she was like, I just got finished taping with Dr. Reilly. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, girl, you better download Uni TV. I said, because we're premiering her. She's going to be on our show.
Look at that. Oh my God. That is the universe saying the world is small and everyone is together. So season 2, I just give everyone a little taste. Season 2, the theme is loss. Mm. So if you know Jocelyn, you understand her story, what her story is gonna be. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna tell y'all what her story is gonna be because y'all gonna need tissue boxes upon tissue boxes to hear her story, but also see the power that her story has transformed her into. That's my girl. That's my sister. That's my sissy.
So, but wait. So if she's your sister, then that means we sisters. That you know, this is the beginning of something real good. Sorry, Khalil, you can't be down in this club.
No, you can't be. No love for you.
I'm letting y'all talk. Y'all talk. You know y'all do. I ain't gonna say that. I'm listening.
Just to share so everyone knows like how I come up with the topics, you know, and I think it's very important that I share that, you know, going back.
I asked you that too. That's what I was about to ask you.
I'm a mind reader.
Uh-oh, excuse me.
Right here.
Right here. No, I just want to share that because I think it's important to share, and thank you for like having that as a question. But like I was saying before, you know, I experienced a lot of trauma, you know, and my husband, who is amazing, going back to something that you said, Alicia, when he was saying, you know, we don't know what love is, I would say this: I had got so used to the abnormal being normal that when the normal showed up, I was like, oh, what? And I'm saying that because my husband, he is the normal. He understood how to love me back to life. He understood how to take all of my trauma, hold it in his man heart, and help me move forward, right? So as he continually heard the various traumatic steps in my life, he was like, yo, babe, you got to write this in a book. Yo, babe, you got to tell your story. Yo, babe, you got to. And I was like, what? I ain't sharing that. That's so much shame. Nobody needs to know because I'm successful. I'm a prince, you know, I'm doing this and I'm not going to share those because, you know, you get to that place. But he kept saying, you don't know how many people you're going to help. You don't even know. So I was just like, okay, yeah, okay. But because I trusted him and he loved me back to life, I was like, all right. So I started writing the book, but when I was writing my story, it like re-traumatized me because I was like, oh my goodness. Like I've been through a lot of stuff. But I'm going to say my fast forward, I thank God that he trusted me with those pieces because now I'm here using these pieces of my life to help others. So every topic of the show is a traumatic experience that I involve.
Wow.
So every topic that you see is from my life. Every topic.
Now let me ask you this, because that was definitely, I'm glad you answered the question that I was going to ask you. You know, that's the psychic in you. I get it. I get it. Now watch this. Look. Now, from a person with expertise in nurturing and healing, what did you have to do? What type of education did you take upon yourself to, you know, help those that was in pain or went through some of the traumas that you went through? What type of education did you acquire?
So as I was going through my own healing journey, I read a lot of books, a lot of self-help books. You know, like I said, you know, I went to a therapist and I was just like, really, lady, you want to talk to me? So go back to when you were 3. And I was like, 3? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I need to know how to deal with it now. So like I said, for me, therapy didn't work, but I am an avid reader. And so I would read books. And then if the book talked about another author or another therapist or another psychologist, then I would go get that book, right? Mm. And so I just constantly read and applied what I learned. And then I had a trusted mentor. My pastor is a trusted mentor, and he held me accountable to a lot of stuff that, you show up because you like, yeah, whatever. And he just kept pushing me and believing in me. My pastor and his wife held me accountable. And so between that and prayer, so I also read the Bible. And the Bible, you read the Bible, you get some real wisdom.
Yeah.
Of how to live life.
We hear that for the longest. It took for you to say it, but okay.
I mean, just read the Proverbs alone. You just read the Proverbs alone.
But that is Proverbs got me through some stuff.
Yes.
Proverbs got me through some stuff. Yes. Just that alone. I'm like, wait a minute.
Ecclesiastics, I thought Ecclesiastes was like, but I'm gonna let y'all talk. Go ahead.
Like you don't have to be a religious person, but what's in Proverbs, I would start it like there's 31 Proverbs. So I would choose a proverb a day. So today is, the 8th. So I would read Proverbs 8. And I would be like, oh my goodness, that's just what I was dealing with. Or the next day I would deal with it. So between those 3 pieces of information is what allowed me to really be able to sit down and have these conversations and help people move through their journey. So yeah.
So I want to ask you about the tech side of it, because you see I'm real tech production. Khalil, keep your mouth shut. I don't want to hear nothing from you about the production side, but just tell me that whole process of putting that show together and what it takes and the tapings and all of that stuff.
All right, so I'll start off by saying, first of all, I went to college and undergrad, have a theater degree. So this has always been my passion. Film, TV, television, stage, all of that has always been my passion. But then I had a detour in my life that took me to education, which has been 100% phenomenal for me. Right?
Well, if you don't stop talking my life. That I was in the New York City Department of Ed for 24 years in education. Right now, I'm at Phoenix College as a director of career services. But my passion is this. Okay, go ahead. I like you, man.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You see?
Hold on. Look. Slow down. Good, Dr. Reilly. Good.
So yeah, so that's like the backstory. So as in the life of education, so you never know. If you know the story of Joseph, you think Joseph gets sold into slavery, but doesn't realize that is part of God's plan, right?
The process.
Right. So me going into education allowed me to be introduced to Dennis McKeezy, who is the founder and CEO of OSG. Now he's a consultant and he works for principals. So he became my mentor, coach, and sponsor and champion an executive on the executive side as the principal. And in that relationship, when the pandemic hit, he created this virtual meetup for all principals on Thursday that he was working with, right? And that meeting turned into this meeting space, and the legendary Dame Dash came in on one of the meetings, listened, and he never left. However, while he was in that meeting, everyone, whoever knows Dame Dash, is always going to challenge you, is always going to be like, so what you doing? This is how you boss up, y'all bosses, that's just a way of communicating, right? And so he put a challenge out there. And so I was like, well, what I want from you, because he asked, what do y'all want? What do you want? I said, what I want from you is 5 minutes of your time. So he was like, oh, I like you. So he was like, what? So I said, this is what I want to do. So he challenged me. He was like, that's what you want to do? Then go do it. So that was the engine or the battery in my back that I needed to jump out the window on something that has been birthing or formulating and just, that I had on the inside of me for a very, very long time during the pandemic. And so I was going to do it out my house, right? I was going to be, you're going to just do it in the house. And my friend, LA Sunshine, was like, no, I got a studio. And then no, it was this. So when you are in God's plan, everything just comes easily, like smoothly, like, and you just take that step of faith. And so we were able to pull together the studio. We were able to pull together camera people. We were able to pull together the guests. I was like, let me see my friends and family. I know you're here, so I just reached out to my friends and family who I know were warriors and were triumphant, and they all were like, because it's you, we will do it. And everybody, everybody participated. Everybody was top notch. My editor and I had already was working together. So we were working on our craft for like the last 10 years. Like he and I were working together. We were always trying to do something. So we knew how to flow together because he understood me. I understood him, my editor.
You can tell there's some chemistry there.
Yes.
Yeah, really, yeah.
Working together for 10 years. So anybody out there, if you've been working and working, it doesn't feel like it's happening. He and I, when I say he had went back into the archives, this is a fun fact. He went back into the archives, and the first project we worked on, we were trying to do something for Oprah Winfrey, right? And he went back in the archives, and the same day that we filmed that episode was the same day we filmed the first show of Ask Dr. Reilly, 10 years to the date.
Woo. Wow. So you saying it took 10 years and I'm going to have to be stuck with this one right here?
Y'all got to be careful what y'all talking about, okay?
So yeah, so it's no easy task. Yeah. It takes a lot, like with any entrepreneurship, when you're trying to do your own stuff, it takes dedication. And I really started saying, if I can invest all these hours to make sure that somebody else's business is successful, then I owe that to myself. If I really believe if this really is my passion, my desire, and what I want.
You're right. You definitely gotta be willing to invest in yourself, and you definitely need a team. People that could see the vision, and you definitely want to have a plan. You know what I mean? And most plans don't always go according. There's always going to be detours and all of the other stuff. But it ain't just about the destination. We all know it's about the process of getting there. That's what we learn the most in our experience. You know what I mean? And experience is the best teacher. And again, going back to you and your platform, being able to, from experience, being able to reach people that's going through these different, challenges in their life is so important because, there's so many people around us that we don't know that's broken. You know what I mean? Like I said, outside, everything look neat, sweet, and complete. You know what I mean? The whole, la, 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 but they're still broken from different things that they've been through and things that they find, that they can't get over unless somebody who went through that can connect with them and just give them that right frame of reference to look at it from, to build from, and even kind of like give them the steps to take the steps moving forward to, heal from that process. What's good about your show, Dr. Reilly, again, like I said, is that we see that knowledge and we see the love and the passion that you got that come on your show. And we see the connection that you got with them. And which leads me to my next question. My next question is, when you are coaching or providing your expertise with people, right? How much of that do you take home with you?
That is such a great question.
Hold on, I need you to say it again. Say it again.
That is such a great question. Because I'm aware that there is a possibility that I could also be triggered emotionally and mentally because of the trauma that I experienced. I try to do my best to do a lot of the pre-work, right? A lot of the pre-work. So like
what's the pre-work? So we know what you mean when you say the pre-work.
Yeah. So before the guests come on the show, I kind of try to do my best to really know their story prior to the interview, So I will be aware of what points of the story really trigger me or touch me or will have an impact on me. So, one of the episodes, can I share, is with my cousin, my baby cousin. And so I already knew, I didn't know the entire story. And I didn't really think I wanted to know the entire story because I didn't want to be overly protective as a cousin. And I wanted the interviews to be authentic. So, but I knew a bit and I was like, all right, process my feelings prior to that. And then prior to the taping, I asked my crew, who I trust and respect so much, I was like, y'all gonna have to help me through this one, right? And so if y'all see me get into a place where I'm going emotionally too far and not staying in my role as the facilitator, as the guide, then pull me out. Come rescue me, pull me out, right? Because if you're not, monitoring that, you can go back into places that ain't good, like what they tell a drug addict. Once you get off of drugs, don't go back to the neighborhood. Don't go back to the neighborhood. Get rid of those friends. So once you have, gotten yourself through trauma, then you have to be very protective of that. So between me doing a lot of pre-work, between me trusting my crew and letting them give me signals if I was, going too deep. And then afterwards, I always talk to my husband afterwards because he's on set with me. My husband's on set. And then I'll ask him, how did I do? How's it going? And, he's always watching. He's a very, very observant and overprotective. Well, he's not overprotective because that sounds like bad, but he's very protective because of everything that I've been through and where I am. And so I'll talk to him afterwards and he's like, you all right? You good? You good? He's like, you all right? And he'll just, take care. So those two pieces. And I pray. So let me not even stress that piece. Like I pray. I'm like, Lord, give me the strength. That's part of my pre-work too. This is your story. These are your people, and use it in the way in which you want to help more of your people. So I allow myself to be a vessel also. That's the spiritual pre-work I do.
You know what? Now watch this. Look, I wanted to ask you about something because women that's been incarcerated, right? You with me?
Yeah.
Like, women that's been incarcerated, they go through their challenges, whether they're a mother being incarcerated or just a person incarcerated, and being in that environment, and some women being broken in that environment and stuff like that. How do you address and deal with women? Because I was watching, just why it came to my mind, I was watching on YouTube about this, these women that was incarcerated, and I said, damn, it just hit me. I said, I'm probably running into these people every day, don't even know that they went through this experience, and in some way, like you said, that residue is still maybe around them or on them. I'm like, it's like, do you run into women a lot that been incarcerated, that been broken, and that went through, things that, is hard for the average person? Because I seen, because what came to mind about that as well is one of your episodes, and I hope it wasn't one you talking about somebody, your relative, somebody in the family that did something to him.
Yeah, one of my little baby cousin.
Yeah, that's I seen that one. I'm getting little goosebumps now. Go, Reilly, you got me getting goosebumps, Jordan. You got me getting goosebumps.
You mean to tell me you got feelings? You feel stuff?
Oh, Alicia, Reilly, look, Reilly, let me just say this. Look, she know, like on my morning show, when people say something like what she say, I hit a button and they just disappear for a while. Like, where's Walter?
I'm in control now. I'm in control. I can get rid of you.
Don't do it, Shorty. Don't do it. Don't do it. Let me see the cost. Yeah, I seen the episode with the person that something happened in the family, and the person was, going through it, and they seem like, whatever you've been talking with them about, because I know they, they're your family, and I know y'all had your conversations and stuff like that, and I can see that whatever you've been telling them for a period of time, that you can see that they healing themselves, and you can see that, but even going back telling that story, you can see that it still brought back pain and that little trigger, but I really seen that you was definitely talking to your little cousin. Little cousin was like,
Mhm.
Doc, Mr. Brown, I'm feeling like a hit record, man. I'm, I'm feeling, and it's like whatever you was saying, you was definitely nurturing, and it was definitely, bringing back that strength and empowerment back. But you knowing this, and like I said, with the women being incarcerated and going through certain things similar to that, like that, I'm like, what's like, what do you believe is like the main because hurt people, when people are hurt, they want to hurt people, and they just like, it's like,
Mhm.
what's the main thing that they need? One of the main things, I know it's more, what's one of the main things that you let people know that they got, like steps that they got to do to kind of regain back their self-worth? You find what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
What you got?
That's deep.
I mean,
No, say it again. Say it again, Alicia. Say it again. Say it again, because Riley didn't hear you. Say it again. Go ahead, Riley. You got it. Go ahead, Riley. Go ahead.
I mean, well, and what I'm going to say is probably not revolutionary, but um, it is a fact that it will assist. I mean, the first thing is that, we all wish we can go back in time. And I was just talking, let me say this. I was just talking to somebody about their sexual traumatic experience. And the person was like, they need to go to jail. They don't understand why they still out. And I was like, yeah, you're right. They need to go to jail. But how that's going to help you? Because
Mm.
the person is still going to be in jail and you still going to have residue.
Mm.
You still
Mm.
have residue. You still going to have residue, right? So the first thing is that you got to acknowledge that you have residue. You have to acknowledge that this traumatic experience happened and I got residue, right? And then once you acknowledge that you have residue, then you got to name that residue, right?
Mm.
You got to name it. You got to really be like, okay, I got residue. Yeah, I'm trauma. Yeah, like people. Yeah, I get angry. Yeah, I get, I'm hurt. Yes, and be okay with that. Because some people were like, that don't hurt. That didn't hurt me. I don't need no man. I don't need that. I could do it by myself. No,
Mhm.
that's residue talking. That's residue talking.
Mm.
Yeah.
So acknowledge that you got some residue. Then you have to name the residue, right? And then
Mm.
you got to do your work to heal from the residue. You have to
Mm.
do your work, but you only could do your work with people that you trust and that could push you through. Now, you may say, well, I tried and this person hurt you. Then you tried with the wrong person, right?
Mm.
But if you committed, you got to be committed. If you committed to living on the other side of that pain, then you will find the person that'll come to you. Look at this. Like I jumped out the window, started the show, and y'all found me. You know what I'm saying? We found each other.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I was committed to making this work. I was committed and believing in this vision.
Yeah.
And so if you are committed to your own self-growth and your own worth and your best life, you will find the people, but it has to start with you acknowledging it. Like I started
Come on.
acknowledging, like, I want to be in film and TV because that's my calling. And I named it. I want to do it through a show. Right.
Wow.
And I just went on this journey and got committed to it. And so that process is the same for anything that you want. You want to be great, then you got to acknowledge it and move forward. And you got to talk about it. And the more you talk about it, especially with trauma, the less shame you'll have. And I say to the women who have been incarcerated, you've been incarcerated. People see it, but it ain't nothing like being incarcerated in your mind.
In your mind. Come on.
Your mind. And people don't see that. So count it a privilege that you was trusted with trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Count it a privilege that you had this experience. Be grateful for the experience. Because for me, if I didn't have these experiences, I don't know what show I would have.
Mm.
Right?
That's true. That is so true.
I don't know what show I would have. So I've changed my perspective about my pain, and I've changed my perspective about my trauma. And so that's what I say to the women I've been incarcerated. I'll say to anybody that has these horrible experiences, change your perspective, acknowledge it, name it, and be committed to doing whatever you have to do to get on that other side.
Wow. Well, this time went so fast.
No, I don't care about the timing. I got one more dog. She ain't getting away that quick. I
got one more. I got one more.
Listen, I got one more question. This is real right here. Now we got interviews from everybody from Bobby. We got into everybody in the industry. And I tell you, the most impactful interviews are for people that's always there, willing to help, connect, and heal. Those are always the best interviews we have, because it comes from a place that's so authentic, and it comes from a place that's so spiritual. It's just like another what you call another feeling of euphoria. What's the word I'm looking for? Y'all know? Help me out now. Y'all ain't helping me anyway. Now I want to say this because I know we wrapping it up. Trauma and shame. Tell us about trauma and shame. Just those two, because those be some of the pain points, and those be some of those experiences that can just have somebody just spiral down a rabbit hole. Trauma and shame. Just your interpretation of trauma and shame, and what they can do, and what they could do, and what you can do for it.
Yeah. So trauma is a real manipulative, tricky monster, because trauma will have you so jacked up believing that it was your fault. Trauma will have you so jacked up believing that you did something to warrant it. Trauma, you talk about karma, what goes around comes around. No, trauma will have you believing that you deserved it.
Right? Interpretate trauma. What trauma is what?
So trauma is anything egregious act that happens on you that messes with your mental state, your emotional state, leaves an imprint on your soul and your heart that paralyzes you from moving forward. So it could be from not getting enough nourishment. That's trauma. It could be from your cousin stealing your money. It could be, I lent you $20 and you have yet to give me back my $20, right? So anything that interrupts your mental, emotional state and leaves a heart imprint that becomes an obstacle for you moving forward, right? And even talking about that $20 to my cousin, you know what, I know I should have never gave it to her. I knew I shouldn't have lent him that money, right? I'm mad at myself for thinking she or he was going to give it back, right? That's trauma. Trauma just tricked you into believing it. No, your cousin ain't got no integrity. You know what I'm saying? Right? So now when you experience that trauma and the tricks that come with trauma, you now shameful. You feel shame, like, I shouldn't have did it. Oh my gosh, if people find out, and then that becomes another layer. So trauma start bringing his cousins, shame, depression, low self-esteem. So it's bringing the cousins. And so with shame likes to be in the dark. Shame likes to be by himself. I'm gonna call him a him. Shame likes to be himself. But the thing with shame is when you talk about it and you shine light about it and you share, shame has this way of dissipating and disappearing. So that's why I wanted to pull it out there on the show to make people understand that don't let shame keep you from speaking about it. Don't let shame keep you from seeking the assistance and the help. And the more we talk about it, the more light we shine on shame.
Wow.
That was good, Dr. Reilly.
That was really good.
Dr. Reilly is a graduate from the Khalil School.
Here he goes.
She's on an honor roll, and you can see she's a shining light right now. And like, we're proud to see, you're bringing forth this wisdom and help people transform into their best self.
Yeah.
But that was good. That was good, sis. That was good, y'all.
Thank you.
We're so excited to have you on the show. We want everybody who's listening. We want everybody to make sure you tune into the Google channel and to the Dr. Reilly show. And we want you, wherever you hear that name, Dr. Reilly, I want y'all to make sure y'all go support it and, and add the value that, needs to be added. You know what I mean? Just Dr. Reilly. Just remember the name, y'all. You heard it first from us, Dr. Reilly. All right.
And you could see 3 shows we previewing, sneak peek until we fully launch the channel. You could see 3 shows, 1 p.m. Eastern. All you got to do on the Roku channel is put in UNIETV, add the channel, and you'll get to see some of the shows we got. Omni's World, we got the Lost Book of Rap, we got Dr. Reilly, we got concerts, Essence Fest, we got the Foursome D's, we got music videos, and we got some stuff coming up. So make sure you stay connected to us as we will be bringing more guests to our show. So you can see that the Roku TV channel, UniETV, is doing their thing. We went from a radio to now TV. So guys, just make sure you do that. And if you have original content, we will put the link in the chat box or on the comments to let you know how to download your link, your original content. Make sure you title it with your email address. And if it's good, we'll get back to you. And if it's not, we'll tell you what you probably need to do to make it TV editable. But anyway, you've heard Alicia, Dr. Lady Rain, Khalil, and we want to thank Ask Dr. Reilly, Dr. Anissa Reilly, season 1, Roku TV. You guys be blessed. And thank you, Dr. Reilly, for joining us and trusting us with your vision.
Yeah.
Trusting us with your vision. I'm telling you, it's amazing.
Thank
be
you.
Blessed. All right. Bye-bye.